All right, friends, I am in my kitchen and I'm getting ready to cook some dinner. Tonight I am making zosui, which is a Japanese comfort food. It's like a rice soup, not to be mistaken with ojiya, which is also a rice soup, but it's more of a pasty rice soup, where I'm gonna make more of a grainy based rice soup where you can still see the rice. And it hasn't turned into a porridge. Here are the ingredients that we're going to use today, so let me switch my camera angle. So I have chicken, and it's mostly leg meat. Dark meat works best for this, so it's a little combination of leg and chicken thigh. I got this at the Asian market, but you can get chicken anywhere. Old rice, not like old sitting on the counter, but leftover rice from the night before. I threw mine in the freezer really quick just to make it a little bit harder. I have a pot to cook it in. I'm using a Dutch oven. Very important, you need dashi. This is probably the hardest thing that you're going to need to find. Dashi is a Japanese seasoning. It comes sort of like tea bags that you can get at the market, or you can make it yourself, which is a lot more work. But it gives it that seafoody taste, that delicious Japanese flavor. I'm going to use some eggs, soy sauce, white pepper, sesame seeds, toasted preferably, shiitake mushrooms. You can use fresh mushrooms. I get these dried ones. They just cook a little bit better for me, or in the broth at least. I got some salt, carrots, green onions, and some tools that I need. I need chopsticks for stirring. I need a measuring cup to put my eggs into to beat them. A peeler, because I'm going to peel the carrots. I have a little strainer here, or whatever you want to call this, a basket thing. I'm going to wash my rice in there. You need my knife is backwards. I have a chef knife that I'm going to use to cut my chicken with. There it is, my chef's knife. And then your chef needs some drinkage while cooking, so always feed your kitchen. All right, so my first step is to make the dashi. I have my pot here. So the first thing we need to do is make our dashi. I took out 2 packets because I'm making enough food for my family. So I'm making at least 4+ servings. And I filled up my Dutch oven with, I don't know, it's about 8 cups of water. And I'm just gonna start to heat it up. So I'm gonna turn that water on. I want it to boil. But I'm going to mix the dashi powder into there. Oops, I dropped it. I said earlier that I thought it was a tea bag type thing, and normally these dashi powders are in a tea bag, but this is actually just sort of like a instant powder mix. I totally just dropped it into my pot, so it's a little grimy. And then once it's all in there, go ahead and just take your chopsticks, mix it up. And I'm just going to let it boil, and I'm going to put the lid on it. And just let it boil. While that's boiling, I'm going to go over to my cutting board, and I'm going to dice up my chicken into bite-sized bits. All right, while that is cooking, while the dashi is boiling, I'm just going to trim up and chop up my chicken. Just trim off any of the pieces that you don't like. If you're not a fat person, you can trim off your fat. If you like the fat, I think it adds a lot of good flavor. You can leave it on there. It's up to you. I'm just going to trim a little bit off of it. I don't like to get rid of too much food. I eat everything. So just clean it up a little bit. And you want to just chop this chicken into somewhat bite-sized pieces, something that is, good on chopsticks, not too big, not too small. It's gonna cook down a little bit, and I'm just gonna chop it up. And it just depends how much chicken you like in your food. I'm not using any knife skills here or anything fancy. All right, let's check in on our dashi. Look at that, it is all boiling up. I'm going to go ahead and just add my chicken to it. So I've got my chicken here. I don't have 2 free hands, so I'm just going to do this really badly and shake it in there. Probably gonna splash it on myself. Yep, just throw that all in there. Oop. Messy cook. I normally would use 2 hands, but I'm filming this by myself. So, you know, you get what you get. So, the chicken is in there. I'm gonna mix it up a little bit. It's already starting to boil up. I'm gonna let this, let's see, I'm gonna mix it up, make sure it's all spread out. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my stove to a medium-low, and I'm gonna let this boil. Once it boils, I'm gonna skim the surface for any like debris-ish type stuff, and you know, just skim that out, and I'll add my vegetables. All right. While the chicken is cooking, I am going to go ahead and peel some carrots and not dice them up, but chop them up into small bite-sized bits. At this time, I'm also going to dice up some green onion. So I'm just going to give it some. All right, my chicken and dashi have been cooking for a while, and I cleaned the broth out a little bit. Here it is. I'm going to turn it down just a smidgen. I'm going to be adding my carrot pieces to there now. So I'm just going to add the carrot in there. Give it a quick little stir around. Get it all mixed up a bit. And I'm gonna throw the lid on and let it cook for about another 4 to 5 minutes, just to soften those carrots up. All right, so I'm gonna take my rice, I'm gonna wash it real fast. So I'm just gonna get it wet. Throw it in there. And I'm washing it so my soup isn't as creamy, I guess. That's not the word I'm looking for. But, so my rice looks more like rice and not like a porridge. So I'm just gonna wash it all up. I'm getting rid of all the starch, basically. Washing the starch off of it. Some of my rice pieces are pretty stuck together. That's good. Right, now that our carrots have been cooking, let's go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients. We are gonna add some soy sauce, just a quick little drizzle in there. I'm gonna add some salt to my liking, just a quick little pinch. Some shiitake mushrooms. I'm just gonna add a quick little handful of them. Maybe 2, I like mushrooms a lot, so I'm just gonna load it up of mushrooms. That should be good. Mix those in a little bit. The smell is amazing right now. There's like a fishy, brothy smell from the dashi that's coming up. It smells fantastic. And then the last thing I need to add right now is the rice. Wanted to make sure I drained it, so I washed it and drained it, and I'm just gonna scoop in a lot of rice into here. And this is gonna be the main part of my soup, sort of the big hearty part. After I get the rice in there, I'm just gonna let it cook for 10 more minutes, and I'll check back on it. Right. While your soup is cooking, let's go ahead and crack and beat our eggs. And the eggs you use, it's just according to how much egg you like in your soup. I'm doing 3. If you don't like egg too much, just do 1 or 0. And if you really, really like egg, do 4 or 5. Use my fingers. And then I'm just gonna use my chopsticks and beat the eggs. Now that the soup has been cooking for 10 minutes, ooh, it's boiling, let me turn that down a little bit. I am going to take my egg that I beat, and I'm just gonna slowly drizzle it into the broth, and it's gonna cook on top. So we just wanna, ooh, that was kind of fast. Well, that poured out really fast. I'm gonna slowly just pour it in there. And the egg is gonna sort of cook in there. Sort of like egg drop soup would. Let me put that to the side. And you can see the egg is starting to cook in there. egg on up. Oh, that looks delicious. Stir it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna throw in some green onion. So here's the green onion I cut earlier. Just gonna finish it off with some green onion on top. I like green onion, so I'm just gonna load it up. It all mix in. A little bit of white pepper to flavor. And some toasted sesame seeds. Get that all in there. Mix it up. And that soup, I'm just gonna let it cook for maybe another 3 minutes and it will be ready to eat. Perfect comfort food. Don't forget, your chef also needs to have some food or drink. So, always feed your chef. All right, let's see how it looks. There we go. Ooh, it's all thick and rich. Serve it on up. Get some of those green onions. And voila, a bowl of Zosui.